Houston, our instruments are showing that we have a incoming message from deep space. Houston, we have an incoming message from deep space. Houston, we'll begin playing message now. Houston, we're going to try and translate here. Hold for translation. Translation complete. We'll begin playing message now.
Hey, it's me, Melissa.
What do you do when the aliens invade? Take a shot of liquor, you'll try and watch Melissa Jade. Put on your tinfoil hat and tune right in. We got that crime spree, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, of complex Mandela effects, unidentified optics of mind expanding, fake landing. What it all been understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Aliens is on the sun, ordinary 51 time travels, unravels, haunted castles, house ravel, books, and experimental thoughts that make you transcendental. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Crime streets, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects of mind expanding, fake landing, what it all been understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa.
Hey guys, hey Crunk Crochet Buffet, Beach Lover, Chazzy, Harlot People Me, hey Christina, Kimberly, Destination, Poor Linda, Roro, let me see, Amy J all day, Lily by Starlight, Jenny, Natasha, Beach Lover, Chloe Moon, Jules. Oh, was it? I don't even care. I don't even care. I'm too tired. Toe Beans. I can't share dances. Shit, sorry. Fragile Like a Bomb. Michelle. Lee the Bee. Christina. Petunia. Katie. The intro's playing like my emotions. Oh, you guys are funny, man. Hi, Grandma Cece. Bogart. Curious Christine. Scott. Forgets and Shiggles. How's everyone doing? Hey, Homer. Kim. Melissa. Oh, we're going to continue with our grusing. Hey, Wolfie. It's for telling us. Hi, SK. Where'd that come from? Just curious. But I know it's easy. Like if you break the word down, I could get it. If I put the word together, I can't. It just doesn't come out right. But where'd that come from? Hi, Kitty. Hey, Edith. Hey, Susie. I'm always excited for Johnny. I'm tired, Wolfie. So give me some time to pep up. But we got Grusing on the stand, so that's always a way to put a pep in my step. Oh, why did this fart pull up? I went to go pull up the missing child, and the fart from last night pulled up. Okay. So, hi, Mama 45. Yeah, Mr. Coffee. Exactly. I didn't change the time, Little Red. It was always 7:30, silly. No, I'm not playing it again. I'm waiting for tomorrow for it to be organic. I like an organic fart. Hi, PB&J. Well, Callie, if you're like me, you'll go to the fridge 8 times and stare at it. And every time you go back, you expect something to pop up that wasn't there the last 6 times you checked. I don't know if anyone else does that. In the days prior to the crime that you referenced on Monday, you said that's what makes you think is premeditated. I've read them out a bunch of times, and they're in a lot of previous videos I've done. I'm trying to think. I don't know off the top of my head which previous video it's in, but I could find them and like pull them up and like flash them on the screen towards the end of the live if you want me to, and you could kind of either pause and read it or screenshot it. Yeah, see, PB&J, it happens. Hey, K-Braze. I know, Melissa, right? Google lettuce wraps from P.F. Chang's. I've never had P.F. Chang's. But okay. Our missing child for tonight's stream is in my area. It's Giovanni Amaya Ariazi. He has been missing since September 16th, 2024 from Riverhead, New York. He is 16 years old. It says Giovanni is a missing child. He is Hispanic and was last seen wearing gray sweatpants and a white t-shirt. Giovanni has tattoos on his left cheek and neck, a pierced nose, and lips. Giovanni may be with a female companion. So if you or anyone you know have information on his whereabouts, please contact the New York State Missing Persons Clearinghouse at 1-800-346-3543. So very distinct tattoos, so that definitely will be easier to spot. I've heard P.F. Chang's is good, and there's one near the Cheesecake Factory, but that kind of explains why I never end up at P.F. Chang's, because it's right next to the Cheesecake Factory, and my ass goes there. Hi, AN13. Yeah, Julie. You know what, to be fair, I got my first tattoos at 16 also. Was I 17? I was underage. And yeah, so I love, oh crap, what's his name? I love that actor Harlot. What's his name? Oh man, I'll figure it out later, but I love him. Not on my face though. You were 17 some dumb dream, see? Not on my face. It was on the back of my neck and my foot. I got 2 at the same time for the first one. It looks like shit. Evan Peters, yes. Evan Peters, Katie, yes. Me too. Jenny, me too. Hi, Christopher. Evan Peters. Does anyone watch Married at First Sight? I do not. Believe it or not, one of the grooms wrote a song for the reception mentioning allowing the bride pooping on his chest. See, it's a thing. Oh, I love Josh Hartnett, but that's not who I was talking about, MMC. I love me some Josh. P.F. Chang's, I think, is Asian food, Natasha? I'm not sure. I think it's Asian. Fusion? I don't know. Yeah, Sarabella. Well, tell her she needs to wait, Christina. I wish we listened to our parents more when we were kids, but we think we know everything, right? Okay. So we're continuing with the interrogation and John Grusing up on that stand doing his sexy thing. And it's never a dull moment when we watch the interrogation. So I'm going to go right on over. Pull up the video. Tisha, where are you? There you are. Okay. Hello, hiccup. We are starting a new day, which means a new look. Oh, no. I'm sorry. It's the second half of the day, so we don't get a new outfit. I think Tisha was in blue. Scatology. Are you, Kathy? Wait a second. Are you that close to me? Yeah, definitely keep an eye out. Do you, Homer? Yeah, they should definitely wait till you're adult. But, you know, if you're like me and other kids, you know, you have someone who has a tattoo machine, and it's even more easier now. And you do stupid shit. You know what I mean? Wait, actually, no, I have to do this or it's going to be glitchy. Anyone fancy a date? Where are we going, Tim? Depends. Hi, Victor. Okay, Kathy. How far out, though? How far out? We're going to do the entire screen. We're going to go like this, a little that, a little this, a little that, a little this. We're going to go like that. Then we're going to go like that. Perfect. All right, we're ready. We're ready to rock and roll. Has anyone been following the Lisa Richards stuff? Shit's crazy, man. She is spiraling. Okay, get my filters up. Well, my chat filter. Here we go. Let's get Grusing back on the stand. Here we are. You guys ready? Now I'm more middle of the island. We should meet up sometime, Kathy. That would be fun, right? Crickets and jiggles. Oh my goodness. Me too, Jenny. I'm excited. Hey, Callie Lisa, a blue Dallas Cowboy star. Wow. Hi, Tiger Lily. Okay. All right. So we got John Grusing back on the stand. He is answering questions. They're playing portions of the interrogation, stopping, asking Grusing questions. We're going to resume right where we left off. We already have Tisha smiling away, pulling at her snot rocket nose and acting like she's not in trial for murdering of her stepson. But, you know, I digress.
Backpack lawyer, as we've taken to call him, was late this morning. Late to trial. Came running in, still straightening his tie.
They're joking. See, this is what pissed everyone off when we were watching the trial in real time. Will Cook and Tisha giggling, laughing. Look at them. Look at those still. I forgot about this. See, look at how close Mr. Cook gets to Tisha. He could smell her from under area at this point. He is so close to her. This is why they received threats. And when I say that, I do not agree or support that behavior. But Tellini explained his family received death threats because on TV they would watch and you would see the lawyers laughing and interacting with Tisha, and it pissed people off. But it was really Cook versus Tellini. So just watch their energy, okay?
Let's see. Let's get our Letecia cam going, see if we have any new hairstyles. Not seeing anything new. There's her hairstyle. A lot of smiles, though. Some hand gestures. See the box of tissues there now? She is super giggly. Backpack lawyer, as we've taken to call him, was late this morning. Late to trial. Came running in, still straightening his tie. I'm not saying he had a hangover, but he looked like he didn't want to be there. But so Letecia is going to do some light reading. She's got a few pages. Oh, the car shop's calling. Hold on one second.
We need to take outside the presence of the jury at this point in time, prosecution.
Judge, just briefly, this is really sort of just a continuation of the last conversation we had without the jury being present.
Yes.
And it relates to Mr. Grusing's prior testimony, at least as to his qualifications, and was part of the basis for why defense was basing their objections on. At the beginning of his testimony, we went through his background and experience and trainings and whatnot. He started talking about having trained with BAU and being trained by profilers, but he said that he's not himself a profiler. That's in testimony. And I think it's important to keep that in mind too when we're talking about the things that defense is bringing up.
Well, I actually was thinking about it over, I was thinking about it over the lunch hour. And if we get to that, if we get to that place in this testimony, I have an instruction that I'll be giving that essentially mirrors 16.8.109, and in addition informs the jury that Mr. Grusing is not being offered as an expert on the subject of psychiatry or psychology, and you should not accept his testimony as expert testimony. And so, and it gives them the language of 16.8.109 that he can give an opinion regarding conversations, context, those sorts of things. But that was the last sentence. So
Yeah, and in relation to, I think what you're talking about there, Judge, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm on the wrong track on this, but as it relates to that question that we've been asking some witnesses about, did you develop an opinion as to sanity?
right.
Again, just further record of what Mr. Grusing's basis for any opinion would be in this interview, and we've already heard part of it, where he's asking her direct questions about mental health. And she says in her own words that she was of sound mind. He asked the question, are you of sound mind? She says, right. And then she gives an explanation. She gives explanations about having anxiety and being on lorazepam. And so any opinion that we would ask of Mr. Grusing would be based on those phone calls and this particular interview, which there's, I think, enough record being made for him to do that under that 16.8, and you just said the statute number, but I'm blanking on it right now.
16.8.109.
109, thank you. I think there is a sufficient basis already for him to do that. Obviously, we're not to that point yet that I'm going to be asking that, but there certainly is a sufficient basis for that.
All right. Well, we will cross that bridge when we get there.
Yep.
Is there anything else that we need to address at this point in time?
No, Judge.
Defense. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the jury in.
All right.
Works as well.
So you don't.
Jury's coming in. As the jury's
There's
coming in,
Grusing.
Brandy Churchwell tweeted and sent me the link from the Colorado restaurants tied to Mexican drug lord El
Hey, it's
Chapo.
Colorado fans.
The link to some of her story that she's telling.
Thanks, Grandma
The baby
Cece.
belly cash.
Hi, I am Shiny Pop Star.
All right. I'm disappointed there's no new hairstyle.
Look how
today.
close her and
Brittany,
Cook are.
I
Oh,
bet on it. I lost on that one. I guess the day's still young, but we'll see what happens.
hi, Seek Justice. How are you, darling?
You need gloves. Oh, that's right. Okay.
The court doesn't have blankets to hand out to everybody?
No, I was about to suggest that everybody can keep their jackets on. All rise for the jury, please.
Rather be cold than hot.
Lots of people, in
Especially
court
with
today.
that stank. Look
It's
at
good.
like, oh, her hair is so unkempt. And don't tell
Letecia
me,
is,
oh, well, she's in jail. No, I would French braid my hair to keep it controlled. Like you could do things to make it look decent, slick it back, put it in a tight butt. Like, no, there's no reason for this.
Pages. I don't know if she has earplugs
Hi,
or
Neil's
not.
wife.
Thank you. You may all be seated. Court will recall 20 CR 1358 People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury has returned to the courtroom. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. When we took our break, we were in the midst of testimony from Mr. Grusing. That's where we will resume. Mr. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. And just so that we're on the same page as far as the record, we just listened to and watched a portion of the interview from timestamps
She always
1
is
hour,
giving
1 minute, 20 second through 1 hour, 26 minutes and 58 seconds. In the beginning of this portion of the interview, you asked the defendant to describe that fire in the basement. Do you remember that?
Yes.
She gives you some extraneous information there, specifically like Kobe Bryant. Was it consistent that when you would start getting into particular points of interest as it relates to the alleged crimes here, that she would give these extraneous details?
Yes, and that was consistent through the phone calls as well.
From your perspective, was that another distraction attempt to sort of create these tangents off of the main path of what you're trying to drive towards?
Yes.
Cell phones, please.
Oh, someone's
Apparently the
phone
cell
went
phone
off.
wants me to repeat it, Judge. I don't know.
Bet that was crime curious.
That's the year or whoever.
You had asked about details about this fire in this particular portion in like color of flame, those height of the flames. Why were you asking those questions?
Well, as I explained before the video, the candle was a significant incident. She had been talking about that since February 13th that I came on, that Gannon sustained serious burns from that caused him even to bleed. And I wanted to see how she described not only the candle, but the fire itself and how he was injured.
What was your perspective of that either
wake up,
reluctance
Jade.
or unwillingness to share details of the fire, the colors of the flames, the height of the flames? Why is that potentially significant to you in this interview?
Well, I tried multiple times to get her to explain to me what she saw. And I tried to give her different prompts on maybe even motioning with her hand, how tall it might be, or how hot it was, or colors. And she was not comfortable doing that.
Okay. There was also discussion about the burns on Gannon. She describes on one hand that there were little burns on his arms and then says by Monday they're peeling. Any significance to that for you? That seems to be some divergent statements as to the severity of these burns.
Yes, in our phone call on February 13th, she was saying that Gannon was peeling and peeling his burns and that they were very bloody. And that's a lot different from how she was describing those to me in this interview.
In that particular, and you're referring back to a different one of these recorded calls that we listened to.
Correct.
Did that appear to be, from your perspective, a way to explain why there would be blood on his walls and in his bedroom?
Yes.
So again, to explain away important details in the investigation?
Yes.
In this particular discussion of the fire in the basement, she gives a long description about opening windows and how people are sleeping upstairs, everybody is, but then Gannon ends up downstairs. Did that appear to be an isolation of Gannon based on the way you're hearing that?
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me at the time on why he would be back down there, but I decided not to press it.
Does that also, I guess building on that, the fact that she describes all the windows being opened, we're talking about mid to late January, likely very cold in there. Was that significant at all to you?
Yeah, I wasn't really taking in all of that, but I didn't think from talking with El Paso, the sheriff's office, that there was such a cause for so much smoke and inhalation and windows being opened.
Okay. Next, I want to ask you about during this interview, did you ask her about whether she went to work on that Monday, January 27th?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so we're going to jump to 1 hour, 27 minutes flat. And we're going to play from 1 hour, 27 minutes to 1 hour, 29 minutes and 42 seconds.
What I did was I said, I told Albert, I said, hey, I'll just stay at home.
Hey, Amanda.
But the plan was I wasn't going to go. But that was, like, the plan was I was not going to.
So starting, when was that a plan?
I think it was like December, so I was just going to try to use like days, you know, whatever, because I didn't want to.
Right. What did you tell your school as far as why you didn't show up that day?
For that day, I didn't talk to them about anything that day.
Your school, you didn't? Did you just not show? Or did you have classes waiting on you? Or?
No. Okay, so what happened was I transitioned because I was like, okay, I wasn't going to be a teacher anymore. And I was like, okay, well, I have to do something until this, like, the whole flight attendant thing started. So I had to do something and just not have money or whatever. So I got on DA. I would do a long-term sub position or the regular subbing position. And then, so then I just, at that point, was going to just call in whenever I could work. I have it in my email.
Right.
I could just call in whenever I worked.
So were you scheduled to show up then Monday morning?
From the school that I wasn't going to work at anymore.
Were you
I didn't even
from the school you weren't going to work out anymore? Ma'am, that was like your first fucking day. What are you talking about?
complete paperwork with them yet. So it wasn't even, I wasn't
They
even.
weren't counting on you to show up that day or what?
Yes, they were.
But I hadn't signed any contracts. I hadn't done anything with them because the whole plan was I was not going to be teaching.
Okay, yeah, I get you didn't sign contracts, but were they planning for you to come in to do something on Monday and you had to call in?
I never called in on Monday. I already told them.
Did you text down or something?
No. Yes, you did. You messaged, she was already on the stand, and you messaged and said that your stepfather was hit and killed by a car. She is such a fucking liar, man. As if they weren't going to find out.
Thursday or Friday, I'd already told them. Okay. On Thursday or Friday, I'd already told them that I wasn't coming in. I didn't go in Friday either. Like, I'd already told them I wasn't.
Sure.
So it was like, you're asking me about if I told them Monday, but I'd already told them prior.
Oh, you'd already told them, so you didn't have to tell them you're not coming in on Monday?
Right, because I'd already told them because, see, on my dad's side, there was someone who passed away.
No, there wasn't.
The prior week.
God, I hate her.
So, Mr. Grusing, when she's giving you this answer, what information did you have already about her employment on that Monday?
I had, I think in the 4:00 a.m. hour, she had texted to say one of her relatives had got hit by a car and was killed. And that's why she was not coming into work.
And the way that she's describing it, it sounds like she's saying that this was a text that she sent the previous week to a different school as opposed to the one that she was now supposed to work at on Monday, January 27th.
That's correct.
What was significant of that to you?
I was attempting to walk her through her own timeline that she had provided us on the Sunday night burn injuries and then what happened Monday morning. And that was the next logical thing that she should have been describing to me. And then, like you said, she put it back on either Thursday or Friday.
Okay. The reason that she gives in that portion of the interview is that she didn't want to go back into teaching, right?
Yes.
Did she ever say in this part of the interview or any other part of the interview or phone calls having any sort of mental health anxiety issues as it related to teaching?
Not that I listened to, no.
Was it more along the lines of she was just not happy in teaching because of the current environment in schools?
Yes.
Following that portion of the discussion, did you ask her to give you a statement about what happens on Monday, January 27th?
I did.
Does she then, in her answer, is this where she's asks you, I'm going to need some help from you?
Yes.
All right, Your Honor, we're going to jump to 1 hour, 32 minutes and 47 seconds and play through 1 hour, 46 minutes and 45 seconds.
That's kind of long.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What were the timestamps? Do you guys prefer me going to the timestamps on the high quality footage of the interrogation? Or do you want me to continue to play it as is? Okay.
That's kind of long.
6 minutes and 32 minutes and 47 seconds in play through 1 hour, 46 minutes and 45 seconds.
That's kind of long.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dude.
So tell me about the next morning. So now you're at home, Cannon's at home.
Right.
Elena's at school. Tell me what happens now.
Right. So this is where I need help from everybody.
Yeah. And you can get help. Like I said, I've had some high-level informants that have told me some horrific things, and we've had to relocate them. We can get different names. But to do that, to kick that in motion, we need to know the story. We can't just say,
Right.
oh, someone got really important information.
Right. Well, that's where I would need someone to help guide me through this.
Yeah, Christopher.
Because I
Hey,
want to help more than anything. But
That's why I'm here, because I'm representing Denver FBI, and then I have the ability to pull resources from Quantico, which is our behavior analysis unit. Everything comes out of there.
Right.
It's called CERD, which is our incident response group. So this was a big enough case that
Where's up
the
that
supervisor
Stacey?
of the FBI asked me to come down from Denver, and I get all my training out there. So you're not going to have better resources in this room right now. And I'm not bragging.
Right.
I've just been doing this stuff for a long time.
Right.
So if you tell me what happened and then you need protection, we can do all that stuff. So DEA doesn't have those capabilities. ATF doesn't. No. DEA just investigates drugs, and they're very good at it.
Right.
But the FBI, we're now worldwide, and we have offices Bogota to Russia to China to wherever. So we get a lot more funding because when September 11th happened, that changed everything for us. We were the nation's #1 law enforcement agency before then, but they gave us so many more resources since then.
Right.
And so I am specialized in missing kids and unusual homicides, including serial killings and whatever else. So I didn't get in right away on your case, but I have been working it for the past couple of weeks. Well, I'm here now, and whatever you tell me, the worst thing I can do for people like you is if you have a story that requires your protection for the FBI, it would not be good for me to run out and say, oh, Letecia told me this, and that's not how it works. If this can help us find Gannon, we'll do whatever we can. Okay.
Not like I just need like protection for.
Tisha just needs protection for it, right? If I'm gonna help you, Mr. FBI, sir, I'm gonna need protection because I'm dealing with some serious motherfuckers. Okay, Tisha.
Okay, well, you can get that, but we have to know the story first.
So how am I supposed to get help talking to someone first before we talk to you? Because I'm willing to do that.
No, you're not.
Here's your deal. If you need help, and if you want to go through the court process, that's fine. We leave, and then you work through the court process. But then it just becomes the whole focus of this, Letecia. Right now, you're the only one. You're the last one. You're the last adult with him. You're the last adult we know about with him. You have not told anybody anything else to lead us. We have been trying to work with Val to say, what does she say in that?
Yeah.
And the Quincy Brown thing and whatever else.
I was mad at him about all that. But a lot of it was keys to help me. But it should have been. I could have just reached out to someone to be like terrified for myself.
Yeah, of course, Stacey.
That would have been. Also, what I can help you with can also help you with something else you might learn with. I'm just saying.
Well, Letecia, you've got to give me something here to work with. If you want to.
So she actually, and this is like one of the most fascinating. I know, Katie. This is one of the most fascinating parts of this interrogation is that Tisha, and it's unfortunately not only is it poor quality visually, it's poor quality audio too in this version, but Letecia thought that she could get a deal without handing over any information. She believed that she could get them to protect anonymity, witness protection program, immunity, and not actually hand over anything first. And then she was planning on handing over something that was bullshit anyway.
Go through the court process. Like I said on here, the last question, if you want to stop at any time, you are more than welcome to stop and say.
But it says.
See, Tisha, at any point you want to stop, you're free to stop. So don't be screaming about a lawyer later.
You can have one present to talk to you.
Yep. And that will kick in the court process and then we're done, which is fine. And if that's what you want.
See, now Tisha's dumbass thinks that means when he says, yeah, you can have a lawyer talk to you at any time, but then that's going to stop this and it's going to start the court process, right? She thought, oh, well, damn, if I speak to a lawyer, automatically that's going to start the court process versus if I talk to you, I have a chance of getting out of this. No, you're going to court. Like, it's done. You're arrested. You're charged with murder. You're going to the court process either way. We're just not going to talk. It's simple as that.
Okay, but the whole, if you need protection and that sort of thing, I can't get you there without you giving me something. So I listened to all the calls with that, and I've seen the crime scene with those. Mm-hmm. Okay, what happened in the bedroom was not Gannon slinging his blood on the wall.
Well, that's totally like
right,
not
Brandon?
even to do with anything.
Yeah,
that's why I'm so like upset about bedrooms and all those things. Because I understand you're an expert. I know that. But I'm telling you that I'm gonna need like protection.
Exactly, I am 13.
That's it. It's not me. I'm not the person.
So, but if you're not the person, the charges won't be different. Okay, if you allowed someone else to come in and do the things to Gannon that we know happened to him, you're just as guilty.
I didn't allow anyone, and I don't know of anything like you're talking about to be happening to him. I do know that there's something I can tell you that can help you, or help me, help everyone. Help.
So let me tell you where I am. Okay. Like I said, I've been 23 years with the FBI. For the last 20, I've been working violent crime. And I've worked some of the worst cases. And it kind of messed me up a little bit, to be honest.
Right.
Seeing what I've seen. And I worked 20 years of bank robberies. Mm-hmm. So I always thought that you were going to have, I'm the FBI, I'm the good guy, bad people go rob banks. Mm-hmm. And that's not how it is. Mm-hmm. I've had to help arrest other FBI agents, police officers, people from the church, police force officers. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. Mm-hmm. And on the other side, some of the bank robbers, one of them came out after serving a 10-year sentence, and we had it off just fine, even though, we were on opposite sides of the fence.
Hey, Little Red.
The thing that I have seen, though, throughout is when something very bad happens, people think they can't recover from it. And I do not think you are a bad person.
I'm not.
That's why I'm here. No, I don't. I've seen bad
and I know
people.
you told people that to get them to help you.
No, I'm not. No, I would not have this approach with you if I thought you were a bad person. I think something bad happened. And I think that what I've seen a lot, whether it's you think that you can get out if you do this or this or this, that's where you are now. And you're hoping that one of these things can save you. They're not going to be able.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
There was nobody else there. We've looked at the alarms, we've looked at the motions, we've looked at the detectors.
The alarms are already covered up.
This is the time. Oh, God. There was nobody else at the house besides you and Gannon. Sir, the alarms were already covered up. She's talking to the special FBI agent. Sir. She chuckles like, oh, you silly old man. The alarms were already covered up. And she thought it would work.
There was nobody else there. We've looked at the alarms, we've looked at the motions, we've looked at the detectors.
The alarms are already covered up.
The alarms were already covered
Yes.
up. Okay. But
Sir, I'm telling you, sir, what you have is not you. I know you say you wouldn't sit here and say this to me if I wasn't, whatever. I'm telling you, it is true. I would not and did not. Did not. And with you guys having my phone, I would have thought that you would have had some of the apps looked into. Now, I would have thought that sometimes when I talked to Albert, you might have listened to him or whatever, it could have been some help and indication. I really did.
Oh.
Because I couldn't come at you and just tell you if you say there's somebody not involved. I could walk you through it and prove it to you, and you guys have already had this predetermination. I don't mean you. I have the first time I spoke to you. You guys have already had this predetermination. That's what's going to happen. It's already in your mindset.
yeah, because we have no other evidence pointing us elsewhere. So if there was a shred of evidence, Letecia, that pointed us to some other person, we would be all over it. As soon as Quincy Brown came out of your mouth, it doesn't take long.
So, you know, 100% he's in Mexico right now.
Yes, we do now. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tisha, you think you're about to swindle the FBI the way that you do Al? So you're 100% sure Quincy's in Mexico right now? Yeah, we are. Well, okay. Yeah, Tisha. I'm telling you, this is the most fascinating aspect of this case, and what's so unusual about it is she genuinely thought she was in control. Even when she's desperately out of control, she fights to be in control of it, lying to herself along the way. Hey, Melly.
Because we did get our legal, we have what's called a legal attaché.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Where that alone, and I get that you're saying you have someone who looked into that and knows that, that's where I know in my heart that I can't trust to get help. That very least.
You're saying Quincy Brown's not in Mexico?
That's not what I'm saying. But you would have said another word, like something in between that would have gave that off. Like, you wouldn't have said he's just in Mexico and didn't do anything. You would have said, oh, did he come back here for a reason? You wouldn't have said any of that. You would have known some other things too. Or maybe you have and you just can't tell me those things. And that's okay. But
well, we don't, in a case like this, so tips will come in, you know, the public will call in. And then, of course, you and Al are primary interest because you're the parents of the missing kid. And most, 90% of the time, when a kid goes missing, it has to do with one of the parents.
Hey, Tracy.
But yeah, that we work on probability.
Okay.
So, and especially with you, then you're there. You say he went to a neighbor's house. That's the very first thing you say. And then there's no thought that somebody took him. So
there's no thought.
There's no thought for law enforcement.
But you don't understand what happened leading up to the days before. Nothing to do with Gannon, nothing to do with, okay, in terms of me and Gannon. I love Gannon with all my heart. And so you can sit here and say 90% parents, this. Okay.
I'm not saying you don't love him.
I love him.
I'm saying that even I have had times when my son rolled the basketball underneath that I wanted to turn around and do something, and then I would have regretted it later.
But what you're saying to me is, what you think is that I hurt Gannon.
And I don't think it was intentional.
Okay, but I didn't hurt Gannon. Okay, and I didn't either intentional or not intentional hurt Gannon. I did not. That's just not what happened.
Yeah, it
Okay?
is.
And I had this conversation with you just to see for a second if I could get help from you.
Which you can, but how can you expect me to help?
Thank you. Gotta have faith. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Let's celebrate their first super on a live stream. Hell yeah, gotta have faith. Thank you. What an honor. Very much appreciated.
Help you, Letecia, if you're not going to tell me what happened.
Yeah, Little Red.
Just let me tell you. You can unlock the entire resources of the FBI right now. I've told you that. But then you say that you're not willing to do it, whether you don't trust me or you think that there's these.
But you already told me someone wasn't there based on an alarm.
That's from what we can see. Yes,
Okay.
Movement in the basement.
Right.
Movement upstairs.
But you've already told me that based on that. Okay. But what you're not realizing is there's 2 sensors on that home. Okay. Two that can easily be manipulated. Easily.
Okay.
Okay. And if you even knew anything about prior, you would be thinking a lot differently.
Okay, so here we are again, Tisha. Listen, sir, you should probably resign from the FBI right fucking now. Because if you knew anything, sir, you would know that there are 2 sensors on my footage that could easily be manipulated, sir. And so if you had any context and knew what happened prior, you wouldn't be thinking this way right now. Now, spoiler alert, he's going to ask, you know what? All right, then tell me what happened prior so I don't think you're guilty. But no, Jim John Doe, no, we can't do that, right? Tisha can't do that.
But see, that's why I can't talk to you about these things, because you already have predetermined what you think.
It doesn't matter what I predetermined.
What you said intentionally, unintentionally, and that's not the case.
I'm not saying I'm right 100% of the time. It doesn't, you need to just disregard whatever I think, or really whatever anybody else thinks. If you have a truth, and if you have something that will help us find him, really, the hell with me and everybody else and what we think. You should just cast that aside. All I can follow is the facts of the case as they're told to me. And so for me to go somewhere else besides the facts, I have to then go back to the facts to check it. So when I say something like,
P in private, but you can't tell Albert about anything that led up to it or anyone else.
Albert.
Okay, so Tisha's got something. Listen, sir, never mind all the 80 different bullshit stories I told Al. I'm about to tell you the truth, but you have to pinky promise Special FBI Agent Grusing. You need a pinky promise me you're not going to tell Al or about any of this. You know what? One aspect I never really thought of while watching this moment is the fact that Al wants nothing to do with Tisha. But here is Tisha in her mind. Listen, when I clear myself and you find out I was having a threesome with other people outside my marriage, you can't tell Al because we're going to go be a family again. Sure.
But I understand that, but I need your help, and I need to know that you tell me those resources, you tell me whatever, okay? I know you're saying you got whatever, this, and that, and all that, but I really am going to need help, like, a lot. Swear to you. Don't base it on some alarm report, because they can easily manipulate it.
Well, we're not just.
They easily would. I know I'm saying when you're saying.
Sir, don't base charging me for this murder on alarm. Sir, those could easily be manipulated. Perhaps you should bring an expert in that field because you clearly don't know what you're talking about. Hey, cutie pie. Oh, no. Help. Gone gray. I'm sorry. Hey, allergic yes. Hey, Rhonda.
So
when you say that, don't base it on that, please. I'm begging you, because that was not even remotely. Not even. I mean,
Mr. Grusing?
Mr. Grusing, I just remind you that you're still under oath.
Get your sexy ass back in that stand, Grusing.
At the beginning of that portion of the interview, Mr. Grusing, you go through a description of if you allowed somebody else to come into the house and do bad things to Gannon, then you're just as guilty. Why were you going down that path and explaining that to her?
Well, had to do with the numerous stories that she had told us and Al over the phone. And just whatever compliciter she was going to make with me, I was wanting to move more directly towards her involvement. So just saying that if she was going to introduce yet another person, like the last one that she introduced was the pregnant lady, and it didn't really have any legs to stand on, I didn't want her to go down that path again.
So was that you trying to encourage her to talk about her actions as opposed to pointing it out to different people?
Yes.
Okay. What about the discussion you had where you're talking about the good guys, the bad guys dynamic and that whole thing, arresting bank robbers? What was that purpose of that?
To tell Letecia basically that she was a good person and that good people can do bad things.
In that portion of the interview, she says she couldn't just come at you and tell you what had happened. What was your take from that particular point of the interview?
Well, I don't know if this is the same thing you're talking about, but she told me that she had keys or some type of keys she was trying to give us, but that she couldn't tell us directly what happened. And to me, that meant that she had been giving us hints along during the different phone calls through Al, because she had already told me that she knew that I and others were listening.
That's exactly what I was talking about, where she's telling you basically that I've been trying to give hints throughout this whole thing. Were there, in fact, some hints in her various statements?
Absolutely.
Can you give us examples of that, please?
Hey, dreadful artist.
Well, she mentioned that Gannon was not in Colorado in either the phone call on February 19th or 21st. I think it was the 19th. And then she told Al that he's not in the U.S. And we later learned that it's close to being true. She also, as we've spoken of numerous times, described the injuries, and she was even describing time periods that we were interested in, like the night before the 2 trips to Costco and what had happened in between those 2 trips. And then when she would come home, what happened after she arrived back at the house. And yeah, so when you compile them all together, she was describing a lot of what had happened separately through the investigation being done by El Paso County Sheriff's Office.
And when you talk about that it was almost true that Gannon wasn't in the United States, are you referring to where Gannon was later found on the essentially banks of a river that flows into the Gulf of Mexico?
Yes.
Okay, down in Florida.
Hey, Chloe Jade.
Why did you tell her that you don't think it was intentional? What, and the way you're implying it in that statement is you don't think what she did to Gannon was intentional. Why'd you say that?
Well, in her first statement that I was present for with Al on the 13th of February, she said that Gannon's first injury in her timeline was that he cut his foot on Saturday. And then she went on to other things that had happened. And in my experience with domestic violence, I had seen that an accident might precede something intentional. And I was giving her the opportunity to say that if she wanted to.
Was that essentially you building it out for her to feel better about telling you what actually happened to Gannon?
Yes, and still just trying to find any factual information from her on injuries to Gannon when they might have occurred, and it's much easier to talk about an accident than something intentional.
Okay. The next section that I want to talk about is right after this. Do you remember her talking about she reached out to people to go places?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and play that. It's at timestamps 1:46:45 through 1:48:30. So going directly from here to 1:48:30.
So you care about Gannon?
I care about Gannon. I have reached out every day offering for people to go in these certain places
No.
to get even insight to see. I every day ask, hey, can you go do this? Can someone meet with you?
So you've asked someone to go look for him?
Right. Like I reached out and I asked Albert, I said, hey, can you meet me? Let me tell you about this and let's go to this location to look. I've asked all these.
What location do you think he's at now, Gannon?
No, I'm just saying like
No,
in general.
but I'm asking you.
In
right
general.
now.
No, not
Where do you
in
think he
general.
is right now?
I don't know exactly.
Hey, RL.
I don't know,
Where do you know him to
but
last?
I am 99% confident Gannon is alive.
Okay.
Thank you, Neil's wife. Still trying to figure out how to gift memberships. Oh man, I forgot I needed to make like a video. A lot of people on iPhones have trouble figuring it out. But until then, here you go. Love your channel. Thank you so much, Neil's wife. Thank you, thank you. And again, until I figure out this tech issue, please don't think I'm not highlighting your guys' super chats. But in order for me to do it, I have to go out. It's gonna leave the screen, you know, like, and so I'm seeing it in chat though, and I'm hearting it. Just please don't think I don't care enough to highlight it. I just can't without it messing it all up. So thank you so much. It's so kind of you though.
Letecia, where do you know him to last be?
Oh, I could comment
I
too.
want to help her, but I'm in a room and you've already talking about all this and the court, and it's me against everybody else.
So here's the
Why
deal.
can't I comment?
Once
Oh, I
this thing
can't
goes
comment.
through the courts, you talk about that. You're the only one to be with him. You think you're going to be able to tell a story.
A story?
It might be a true story.
God, sir.
But listen, I've listened to a lot of your stories and I don't know what else to tell them.
Yeah, okay, that's because I was mad at him. Had nothing, I already knew.
But I've seen what you told the news reporter. I've listened to what you told El Paso about the sex assault that happened in the house.
I already knew that you guys were listening to him.
Yep.
So I said that because I was angry.
But what I think I can offer you today is some help.
Okay.
So in the beginning of that portion, Mr. Grusing, she's talking about she's been trying to reach out to get people to go places. Do you know of any effort she made to reach out to give information, factual information that could be acted on?
I don't.
She's a liar.
So in this, basically in this interview, do you also go through a portion where you're describing that you're looking at her stories and they're just not making sense?
Correct.
I'm going to jump to 1 hour, 51 minutes and 40 seconds and play 1 hour, 56 through 1 hour, 56, 24.
And so I'm looking at your
It's not
stories,
you. Listen,
the ones that you've
just
told
covering
the
my
house, the
bases.
ones that you've said in the media, of hitting your head. When you hit your head, you didn't see what happened. And
Yeah, that's what it
then
is,
when
Charlotte, but it's confusing.
someone else takes Gannon, or when he's riding a bike and he hits his head and stuff
No,
like
I
that.
didn't buy. I just told you I was saying that to Albert because I was upset that he wasn't listening to me, that I did not hurt Gannon.
I don't think you intended to hurt Gannon at all.
There's no.
No, I'm not saying you did, or he hurt himself. Something bad happened in his room. Have you seen you helped clean it off the wall? We know that.
This here, what you're talking about is completely irrelevant about the whole thinking bad, whatever.
Tell me about, if it's irrelevant, Letecia, help me. Because there's a big blood pool in the corner, there's spray on the wall.
Because if I tell you anything about any of that, all you're going to say to me is, hey, da, da, da.
If you didn't do it, no, I will be your advocate. Because why do we know each other?
No, but
why would I care? If you didn't do it and it helps me find Gannon?
I didn't do it.
Okay, well then help me find out who did it.
Who did what?
That to Gannon in his room.
Done what to Gannon in his room?
There's a pool of blood in the corner.
Okay.
That's Gannon's blood.
Okay, so you're saying now this is where I have a hard time knowing what it is. You're like, okay, trust you or not, right? You're saying there's a pool of blood. Albert said saucer size, because I'm sure you had him say all this, because I'm sure you were there, whatever. Okay, in his room, and you said something about, what'd you say? Then, if that's your whatever, your expert advice or whatever, okay, then where do you think that I had any involvement with Gannon?
See, if you guys remember the last live, I told you what you're going to see is Letecia constantly trying to have Grusing guess the same way she tried to have Al guess what happened. And Grusing's going to flat out tell her, like, in the second half, stop. I can't guess what happened. Like, you like to play these games because, and the reason she does that is because Letecia cannot give a straight answer. So she'd rather never say something specific and have you kind of dance around so she could just say, I never said that later on.
And where did he go? That's where it has to click at some point.
And that's what I listened to you do that to Al, to where you're making him guess what happened to Gannon.
I don't want him to guess.
Well, no, you're asking me to guess.
No, I was asking the question, sir. I wasn't trying to get you. I was just saying in general, asking the question. I want help with people understanding. I tried to give any insight, help, clue, anything, but I can't.
I know, Skylar.
They know my daughter, everyone, my family, my mom, everyone. And you can think that.
But right now, Letecia, I mean, you can go down that road, but it's not going to save you in court because you're the last adult living. And nobody else, just let me try to protect you. I'm not trying to hurt you here. This is actually protecting you. If you don't tell us where to go investigate, then nobody's going to investigate for you. You're the last adult living. You told a lot of lies about all these injuries.
Not to you. I didn't tell lies to you or to any police officer.
Sir, first of all, you did tell many lies to many police officers, but how she ever thought this was going to work either. All of those horrific stories, we listened to those phone calls between her and Al. She's trying to say, no, none of that counts because this is a fresh slate and I haven't lied to you yet, but she has. Never would an innocent person do this, ever.
Did the sex assault happen in the house?
I didn't tell any lies to you or a police officer.
So we don't have anybody to chase though if we don't chase you. Do you understand?
But if you chase me, okay, and you do this to me, people are protected because you guys aren't going to protect everybody. People are protected.
Hey, lovely LaQuinn. Hey, Margie.
We can protect people. We can protect you, family,
Hey,
if this is involved. Now, I've worked South American death groups. I've worked gangsters. I've worked organized crime.
Mm-hmm.
None of that stuff rings true with what happened here. I mean, how is a very organized gang going to come into a house in Colorado Springs?
Who said it? A house? Why does it have to be in the house? See, that's
where he
my
last
God.
was.
Oh.
Are you going to make me guess where he was then?
No, I'm telling you, you're not going to listen to me. You already just said the last was in the house.
But see, you're going back to you care what I think. You shouldn't care what I think.
I do care what you think. You want to know why? Because I care about how people think of me because I am not that kind of person. That's why.
And if you can point me to a different person, then I can help you.
I gave him.
So it stopped at 156.26. When the discussion about the riding the bike and Quincy Brown came up, she stopped you and said, basically she gives a description of, she was just saying that to Al. Do you remember that portion?
Yes.
Was that her basically admitting that what she had told in that particular story, that Quincy Brown, that whole thing was not true?
Correct.
What about the portion of the discussion where you point out that, are you trying to make Al guess? Are you trying to make me guess? What was your intent of making that distinction there, and what were you trying to get to?
Well, I had asked her a question about the blood in the bedroom, trying to get her to explain that to me. And instead, she posed the question to me that if she was responsible, where was Gannon? It's an open-ended question that only she knew. And as I told Letecia, I had seen her do this to Al. Well, I heard her do it to Al while we were in the room multiple times when it's a direct question. We need an answer, or I needed one for the blood. And instead she's asking me where Gannon is, and she knows that I don't know the answer.
Did it appear from your perspective that that was intentionally trying to not give you information as to what happened in the room, or to Gannon?
Yes, both.
Did you confront her with web searches that were done on her phone?
Yes.
I'm going to jump to that portion of the interview, and this is 1 hour, 56 minutes and 52 seconds through 2 hours and 10 seconds.
Yes, we gobshite.
Because you know, in here, I even have what you entered in your phone. The stuff that you've entered and deleted.
Here it comes.
Hey, testicles.
Like blood is spurting from an arterial bleed, direct pressure not controlling.
That is a horrific search that I wish we had the date and time for. Arterial bleed, direct pressure not controlling. It is so, it would really help me because I've always tried to understand the order of events and how she went about this, and when she made that Google search would really help us understand. And I'm so curious.
The stuff that you've entered and deleted.
Here it comes.
Like blood is spurting from an arterial bleed, direct pressure not controlling.
Do what? I didn't look this up.
It's from your phone.
Blood is what?
Spurting from an arterial bleed.
No.
Well, somebody did from your phone.
No, she
I don't
says.
like my stepson.
No.
I don't like my stepson. Should I get a divorce?
Wow.
Stalk cheating. I'll stalk Instagram. I'll stalk cheating in Colorado Springs. Catch I'll stalk cheating.
Intact.
How to get blood out of sheep.
Out of sheep?
Mm-hmm. I want immunity.
I don't know. What do you mean, Little Red? The candle was fully intact, Brie, and there's even photos of it. Aw, thank you, lovely LaQuinn, my hero. Thank you. Yeah, apparently Google tells Google was used as a diary. Hey, testicles. Oh, Skylab. That's funny. But I'm not sure, Little Red, what you mean by buffers. I'm not sure.
The blood out of sheets was because we always had, always nosebleeds. If I ever looked at blood out of sheets, it was nosebleeds.
And I figured it might be something.
I didn't ever look up anything about an artery or something unless it went from something else.
It's on your phone.
And I never looked up anything about my stepson unless someone else did it.
The reason I brought up gangs is you looked up, I want immunity because it was gang related.
Oh my God, Cat Mom, imagine.
And this sounds like
I want immunity because it was gang related. Look at Tisha. Who? What? Who that? Not me. I didn't search that. Yes, you did, ma'am.
Gang related. And this sounds like find me a new husband, find me a rich guy who wants to take care of his kids.
The new husband is just because Albert already knew that was about the lady Debbie Sherrill who wanted to find a new husband after 35 or something. He picked me up.
Listen to her. Find me a new husband. Oh no, sir. No. No. That search right there, the find me a new husband. That was about Deb. That was about big old Debbie. You know, she wanted to help find a guy, you know, after 35. Plenty of fish wasn't available. Stop trying to grasp control out of a situation that is so desperately out of control. And here is a critical mistake she made as the defendant, okay? If you're going to deny the arterial bleed searches, it is not in your best interest to then take accountability for other searches. You either deny all or accept all. But when you're cherry picking and saying, yeah, I made that search and this search, but not that search, it makes it all around harder for your defense.
Lady Debbie Sherrill who wanted to find a new husband after 35 or something. He picked me about Amazon.
And like a lot of these can have nothing to do with this.
It doesn't.
I get it. Can I spray paint wood?
Spray paint wood? Well, we always spray the wood.
Yeah.
Can I spray paint? Was that blood or wood? Hold on.
Can I spray paint wood?
Yeah,
Spray paint
wood.
wood? Well, we always spray the wood.
Yeah. I'm doing all the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help.
Oh, that bothered me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame
Oh, yes, because I wanted them to be mine.
No, you didn't.
What about it?
Need to be their child.
Hit and run? You Googled a lot on Letecia and traffic accident, hit and run.
I didn't hit anybody.
No? What was
Yeah,
that?
Natasha.
What date was it?
I don't have a date on these. I was downloading stuff as I was coming on the plane.
Yeah, no, I don't. If
My
you tell me
husband
the
wants
date.
a divorce. My husband wants a baby, but I want an abortion. One day, some people will wish they treated you differently, which I get that. Parenting should be for people, not one. Quote a suicidal person might say. I mean, these make me very sad when I read them because I can see you're doing all the work at home by yourself.
Which I wanted to be there. I wanted to totally have the kids as my children. That's the point you're not getting. I wanted those kids to be saying to me that I'm their mom.
Yeah.
I am the person who does it, cares for them, loves them, everything. So you can think that.
What do you do if you suspect a person swallowed poison? Did somebody actually swallow poison?
Poison? I don't know. I always click things and read them.
Did somebody swallow it?
No one swallowed any poison.
You will never forgive me and treat me like a princess. You'll never know when it's too late.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always search for things when Albert.
So in that particular portion, you mentioned the immunity. Was there a particular phone calls during the consensual recorded phone calls process where she was also saying the same thing to Al in those phone calls?
Yes, there was. It was one of the earlier phone calls I was involved in.
Did you ask her to describe what injuries Gannon suffered a little bit later after this?
Yes.
I'm going to jump to timestamp 2 hours and 50 seconds. And play through 2 hours, 8 minutes and 55 seconds.
Everything.
If you're not willing to go with who took Gannon, can you at least tell me what injuries he suffered? The true ones, as far as the cut foot, was that a legit injury?
Yes.
And where did that happen?
So he was outside in the garage, and when he was outside in the garage, he was running to go help me take the trash, take the trash out, come back and help me get stuff out of the car, and then he stepped on something, which I left the blood there. I left it, because Albert said, "Don't touch that fine wood or African wood, whatever kind of wood it was."
What did the piece of wood look like? Okay. And it's still there in the garage?
I had to drive over them all the time. I always had to drive over the pieces of wood.
Right. But
Right.
you didn't take that out of the garage?
It's too big. You couldn't fit it in anything. You couldn't fit the pieces. The long boards that were in the garage, you could not fit. I left. So there was the piece of board that I threw in the back of our truck. And then there was the 2 long boards that were sitting there. So the board that was about like this size and the board that was the long boards that were sitting here. I left the long boards because that was supposed to be the fancy wood, and I didn't want the wood or trying to get the blood off of it. The other piece of wood was the wood that I threw in the back of Albert's truck.
And what was that?
There was a bunch of pieces that were laying around that from that night, from us running through there. It was like little pieces. There was a piece about this size, maybe a couple pieces. But that
you threw it in the back of the truck? That bigger piece?
He said bigger like this. It wasn't that big.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cheap wood. I knew it was not the wood that he would be freaking out over. So from Sunday, he did hurt his foot from Sunday.
And how badly was it bleeding?
It wasn't. I say Saturday, I'm sorry. From Saturday. Albert had just left, to drive to the airport. It wasn't even gone long.
Mm-hmm.
He had just left to drive to the airport.
Okay. So did it require a Band-Aid? Or?
Whenever he always does something, he tries to be he's not laying over. It's oh, I need a Band-Aid or whatever. Gannon would literally walk around with toilet paper in the middle of his toe, and it would have blood or whatever, and just run everywhere to his room or whatever.
So what did you do on this occasion?
We literally took the paper towel. That's why I just told you about the toe, and put it in between.
So it was in between his toes is where the injury
No,
was?
it was like wrapped here.
Okay.
Like, we had it wrapped. And I don't remember if we got a Band-Aid, to be honest. This is what Gannon.
So that doesn't sound like a big injury.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, it was blood. There was no big injury. I left it on the wood because I said I'm not going to clean his fine African wood.
What did it look like on the wood? Drops, streaks?
Well, what I did originally was I was trying to take water to do it, but then I realized if I put cleaner, then that wouldn't do anything but cause the wood to damage, because Albert always wanted to build things with all the wood that we bought.
So,
And if I use those pieces of wood and all that stuff, then, you know.
did you ever use that shop vac to clean up anything out there?
No, I never used the shop vac. The shop vac was never, I couldn't even like move anything with the shop. Anything that would have been used with the shop vac would have been Albert, other than the times that we brought it, which would have been weeks ago, and we did spring cleaning or fall cleaning around the house, in the corners. So that would have been the shop vac. There was nothing I ever did and vacuumed up something with a shop vac.
Right,
Like,
that helps me. I'm
you
just
know,
asking.
like any of that.
Right.
I mean, none of that ever happened.
So
Hey, honey.
the burns on the arms weren't that bad. The cut on the toe or the bottom of the foot wasn't that
So
bad.
we still were able to go hiking. He was able to still go
Right.
hiking. It was bleeding on the board.
But
we
not
never
after
really-
that, not over the house, that sort of thing.
Well, he had the piece of paper and went down to his room,
Yeah.
like wrapped around his foot. So, I mean, if anything, there could have been drops of blood or something. No.
What about the wound to the head that you talked to Al about?
So Albert was like trying to get me to say whatever, because I'm sure you guys are having to do that. I knew that's what he was doing. So Albert was trying to get me to say that, like talk to him about, you know, like or you know, whatever. So I threw out some stories to Albert because he was making me so upset.
She says that so nonchalantly. You know, Albert was pissing me off, Grusing. You get it. You have a wife, right? So I just made up a whole bunch of false stories about how his child was abducted and sustained horrific injuries just to piss him off.
Or, you know, whatever. So I threw out some stories to Albert because he was making me so upset. Just like everyone not understanding that intervention and there's someone intervening in this, and that's where people didn't understand and want to say anything. So I just started rambling stuff to Albert, and I even said to you guys, "Hey, I know you're listening," you know, and it was just to be whatever.
But do you know what that sounds like, though, to a dad who's whipping a kid, and then you say, and a previous head wound happened to where it was blood running down his face and
Maybe Christopher.
that sort of thing, and it, you know, had to bandage it up, and
Well, I don't remember saying anything about bandaging up.
I think he said Quincy Brown tried to bandage it up.
Oh, because he was making me mad about something. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember me saying I did that.
So he did suffer a head wound. We know.
Head-
Yes, head or neck.
Okay.
And that is what caused the blood there. And so even if you choose not to tell us where Gannon is today because you're too nervous or whatever else, we would like to know where that was on him. So if we find him on our own, if you've given me the clues to go find him, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that wound?
Gannon is alive.
He's alive, fine, but where was that wound? Was it his neck or his head?
She goes, Gannon is alive. Yet, if we're to believe her version of events, she wouldn't know if Gannon was alive. She made so many errors.
He's alive, fine, but where was that wound? Was it his neck or his head?
I don't know anything about a neck or head.
Well, you had to clean up the wall. You went ahead.
That was not that is not even from what you're talking about there had nothing to do with anything from Saturday, Sunday, and whatever. That had nothing to do with any of it.
How could it not?
It did
There
not.
was a lot of blood.
It did
And
not.
You're going to have to explain that.
Sir, it did not.
Well, just tell me how.
It did not. I promise
But
you.
you're not going to tell me how. So where we can help you with.
You're not going to help me, though.
How could I not help you? How are you going to get up, Letecia, on the stand after telling all these stories, which we're going to ask you about, and then say, I can explain all that, and it's some party that I never told law enforcement to go chase?
Yep.
If Gannon is alive, we have an 11-year-old kid somewhere being held against his will, and you're not telling us. You might as well have done this yourself. That's why I'm saying.
Let me help you get out right there.
She's like, shit. How am I going to get out of this one? All right, sir, give me your pen and paper. I'll write it. Because I can't speak the words, sir.
Let me help you get out right there.
I couldn't hear what she said.
Driving, y'all.
She's writing something down.
Can you guys hear my lettuce in the background? Let me know.
She's writing out her next slice so she can keep it straight. Looks like a right hand.
Hey, Hilson. I know, right, Hilson?
I think she has flats on.
Where's
Little tiny sandals, very thin.
I just need to know if you
sandals.
hear the crunching, because
If she
then I
sits
won't
just
have
right,
my
you can see
lettuce.
them.
So I've paused it at 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 55 seconds.
Thank you, Portland.
What did she write down in your notebook?
I just remembered the first part, that the head wound was on Saturday.
You remember it saying,
Keisha, the head wound was on Saturday. How she thought she was ever going to say any story. Hey, okay. She has the same kicks on as her. How she thought she was ever going to even give any little bit of information and then not be expected to clarify and explain is just insane.
That the head wound was on Saturday.
Roro, I got this ranch, so fuck yes, I'm gonna get as much lettuce as I can. But right now, I have I didn't go to the same supermarket, so they didn't have like the little baby romaine, so I had to get the big stalks of romaine, and it's not as good.
Saturday.
you remember it saying, and had nothing to do with this?
Yes.
Words to that effect, yes.
And had nothing to do with this?
Saturday.
Down in your notebook.
I just remembered the first part, that the head wound was on Saturday.
You remember it saying, and had nothing to do with this?
Words to that effect, yes.
Natasha, you could hear me? Shit.
What was your take on that? That instead of saying it on the camera, she wanted to write it down in your notebook?
Well, whether it's by now, whether it's the argument that she didn't want to talk about the burns, and even calling Gannon in as absent, I wasn't pushing her. I would give her the opportunity to talk, and then she would not talk, so I would move on. And now that we're to the blood and what happened in the room, I think it was too difficult for her to say it out loud with the head wound.
When she's going over the wound to the head, and then she actually says she just started throwing out stories because Al was making me mad. You remember that portion?
Trying to crunch silently.
What were your thoughts on that particular part of the interview?
Well, that was consistent with what she was telling Al on the phone calls. and Al would continue to push her like, we need to find Gannon. And then she would say, what about our relationship? So she would move from finding out what happened to Gannon to her feelings. And that's what she was doing here again.
Is this also an example of her blaming others for her behavior?
Yes.
Did you ask her about blood being found in the back of her Volkswagen Tiguan?
Yes, I did.
Okay, we're going to play that portion next. And Judge, just as I'm watching the time, is there a time that you want me to shoot for a break?
3:10,
Okay,
something like that.
I'll just watch the clock on that.
All right.
This next section picks up from here and goes
I don't want
through
anyone
2 hours,
to
10
hear
minutes,
that.
and 57 seconds.
About the
My
blood in
nibble,
the
my
back of the
problem.
Tiguan.
Take one?
Mhm.
The only blow would have been in the back of the seat when we opened the car up. In the car, we were sitting there to do his foot. There's nothing to do with this.
There's too much to be.
No,
told.
no. No, sir. That is absolutely not true. That was where we were sitting on the back of the car when we were unloading the stuff. We were sitting on the back of the car. There is no, no, sir.
There's plenty in the garage. So.
But there was nothing in.
What's happening, Little Red? Is it the glitching? Bigfoot Israel. Hey, deprogram. Oh, I like that deprogram. If her original plan was to sacrifice poor little Ganon at the Garden of the Gods, you know what? It early on, like, that was a big thing, and I know people to this day believe that something was supposed to happen at that hike. I don't personally resonate with that theory, but I understand why people do. And hi, Rando.
The garage, there was plenty of times that everybody worked in the garage. Had nothing to do with.
Not everybody. Ganon's not working in the garage and bleeding all over the place.
There was nothing about bleeding all over the place in the garage that had to do with anything. I'm telling you, what you're asking me was completely totally different than anything has to do.
Do you know what this looks like? Say you're telling me the truth. Again, please don't think. Please don't.
Thank you for trying.
Say you're telling me the truth right now. That Saturday had nothing to do with him disappearing and being gone for over a month. Do you know what that looks like for you?
It looks like I am in the middle of a situation and I need help getting out.
But you're not willing to tell me how to help you. So now you're saying that Ganon had a really bad head wound on Saturday.
No, I didn't say that. That's not what I said.
The head thing was Saturday, right. And the amount of blood there?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying what you're talking about completely different than what you're saying.
Right.
Okay, Little Red. Yeah, I'll try to figure that out. I don't know why.
Because now you haven't told Al that he has a head wound. You haven't called the hospital.
It wasn't like that. It was not.
Well, then you have to tell me. I mean, you don't have to do anything, but.
It's not what it was like, sir. It's not. Had nothing to do with me. It's not what it was like. Okay.
So
it happens on both devices? Oh man. I don't know what. I'll have to look. I don't know why it would do that.
That particular portion where you're asking.
Thank you, Cherokee Girl, for being a member for 8 months. Hi, everyone. Hello, darling. What? Yeah, it is. I don't know if it won't. I don't know. I'm going to have to look.
Asking about the blood on the Tiguan. Had you been made aware of when she showed up to the El Paso County Sheriff's Office for an interview and the condition of her car?
Yes.
What information did you know about that?
But the car had been washed.
Did you ask her if someone else injured Ganon in this interview? Okay. We're going to jump to that portion. It picks up here and goes through 2 hours and 20 minutes and 06 seconds.
Someone else injured him on Saturday. That's an easy question. You don't even have to tell me a name. Did someone else injure him on Saturday?
I wanted to meet friends. Because I didn't have friends. Okay. So I wanted to meet friends. Albert ever tell you about any of these apps we had to go on?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's where this is going to be whatever, because you're not going to take my version and my side of what really happened.
Letecia, let me stop. If you help us, I will take whatever version you tell me, and I will actually plead it. That's all I do is I don't chase. I am wrong most of the time.
Do you have a way to pull up apps? Do you have a way to pull up the stuff on apps? Do you have that?
We can do that while you're here, yes.
Okay. Well, I know I'm saying, you said you have this.
Yes, we have ways to pull up apps.
Okay.
What app?
How do you have ways to pull up apps?
We have technical people. I'm not a tech person, but we have plenty of tech people that are super smart to do it. If you tell me what to do, we can do that while we're talking, take a break, you can go to the restroom, whatever else. We can solve this thing right now.
Why come I just can't talk to you without a bunch of people watching?
Then we can talk right now.
Yeah, but come on, there's people here.
Yeah. What do you want me to do? You tell me what you want to do, and I will have you.
I want to talk to you to tell you about leading up to anything. I want to talk to you because I want you to find Gannon, and I believe in all my heart you will help me. Not lie to me.
I will help you.
Not try to say, oh, you're telling the story and throw me somewhere. Okay.
So is he alive?
I understand. Let me finish this and I'll answer the question. I understand what you're saying about federal versus local, whatever. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to want to talk to you is that I don't want anything said before held against me if I provide you with 100% the truth to help you.
That'll work. This is the first time we're talking, and it's for a reason. You haven't talked to the feds yet.
Right. So if I can, I don't want to be sitting here with all these people watching because I want you to listen to exactly what happened and go from there. Okay?
Okay.
And that's not, I know you're trained to do this and interrogate people and all this. I want nothing more than for Gannon to be okay. That's all I want. I promise you. That's all I want.
Mm-hmm.
It. And I will take whatever resources, whatever help you want me to go do, even if it means take myself in the middle of somewhere where someone wants me to go to get him. Make sure he's okay. I would do it. Because I love Gannon. And I love my family. And I love the ground that everybody walks on. Albert, Harley, Lena, Gannon. That is my family.
So,
I know in the end, you might think you got whatever by this and forensics and whatever. And I'm not arguing any of that. Very smart to know that you're a smart man and not stupid. But I need the help, the resources to not be attacked anymore. To know that something on stupid app was a silly mistake. Okay?
so you brought someone in.
So I'm not. I
know, I get it. So I'm representing law enforcement from Colorado. Okay. And if you tell me something, even though, you know, we started a recording now.
Yep,
and if you say we won't talk unless we turn off the recording, that can happen. But I'm going to pull in all those resources.
No, I want you to pull in resources. I'm not denying you to say pull in the resources. I'm looking at you from mother to a father. I have been scared because I don't know what's going to happen. Not with because I did something. I wouldn't have told you that there was people, random people, intervention, or all these things if there wouldn't have been. Okay, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Could have easily just been like, hey, if there was truly what you guys had thought about, I don't think you intentionally done it. There was an accident. Common sense, well enough to know to pick up the phone and say an accident happened. I'm not stupid, okay? Might be freaking out because I don't know how to get this help, but I'm not stupid.
No, Rando.
And that's looking you dead in the eye to tell you, I did not hurt Gannon at all, okay? Where are you? So if you're willing to give me the opportunity to talk to you, I don't want to be like watched by people. I don't want to be.
Can you, like, she reminds me of NK, but, you know, being able to dictate how, at least that was an interview. This is an interrogation. But she's able to dictate, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be recorded. I don't want to be in here. And they so desperately wanted to find Gannon. He obliged.
Whatever.
This is a separate recorder. This is mine.
Right. And so does the Myrtle channel.
Yeah, they do.
Right. Right. But I need the help.
You'll get the help.
Okay.
All we're
Did you just send it, Beach Lover?
Okay. And that's what I want. I don't want to look at you look at me like I'm just this bad person who doesn't want to find our child. That's not it. I just don't, when it came at me as an attack, okay, because that's what originally happened, okay, and I get it. They have to do their job, and guess what? They're probably parents too, right? So they have to do their job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get that part.
No, I don't have anything.
You can ask me about any of these, whatever. I'm sure it was something I saw somewhere, and I don't never look up anything about some stepchild. I've looked up how I haven't got help, and how I wanted help, and how I wanted to be the person that they always were. Why I didn't even want them to go home. I didn't even want them to have to go to their mother at all, because I had to see the pain and agony out of it, worry. So
you're
going to take my character based upon
No, I'm not.
whatever.
That's just part. Listen, when a kid goes missing, we don't only look at
Yeah,
the person, we look at the entire neighborhood, we go through people. Everybody's lives is turned upside down.
And I'll tell you right now, if any of this is since then, of course I've looked at what people said. If people said something about the FBI, I Googled FBI.
You worry too much about what we think. If you will get us there, we can protect you.
Okay, so then I talk to you. And I don't talk to Myrtle Beach Police Department and all these other people. I talk to you and I explain to you. Okay, because you already saying you are charging me with something.
It's already been charged.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you've been charged, ho.
Be saying that, okay? So how do I know that when I give you this here information?
But that's what this recording does. It protects you because I've already told you we will do this. We used to not record things, but we do now. And the only people sitting in there is the district attorney and some of the El Paso people. Myrtle Beach has nothing to do with this. They helped us find you.
Right.
So they have to be involved in this.
I understand it. There's nothing against Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach is not in on it.
Okay, well.
If someone else took Gannon, we can find it.
Here. I don't like that. I want to be able to have emotional, raw conversation.
Let's do it now.
I can't.
Why?
We can't go anywhere. Where do you want to go?
Because I know people are sitting there.
Nobody's sitting there.
Okay, someone's watching from there.
They are in the other room. It's the district attorney. Do you want me to tell them they can't watch?
No, I want to talk to someone in a raw, real conversation.
This is someone desperately just trying to get out of the situation she's in. So I can't talk to you, Special FBI Agent Grusing, because I want to be in I want to have a raw, real conversation, not in this box, not anywhere with four walls and a door. I need to be on the beach. We need to be able to feel the sand between our toes so I could get real with you, sir.
Watching from there.
They are in the other room. It's the district attorney. Do you want me to tell them they can't watch?
No, I want to talk to someone in a raw, real conversation so you can see truly in my heart the situation. That's what I want.
That's what this is.
So
that's what this is.
But how can I make
Who is it? The district attorney from Colorado?
Yes.
Yeah, see?
Exactly, Susie.
I can ask them to leave the room.
No, it's not about leaving the room. It's about I'm asking for, instead of going through all, this, whatever, sitting here wasting our time or whatever, I'm asking.
She's not grasping. She's arrested and charged with murder, and this is an interrogation. So instead of just sitting here and wasting all of our time, I'd rather just opt to doing, let me get out there and let me talk to someone that can help. She is not grasping whatsoever the situation she's in.
It's about I'm asking for,
or whatever.
Instead of going through all, this, whatever, sitting here wasting our time or whatever, I'm asking. I'm taking your word that you're going to help me and you're going to provide the resources from wherever you said you have them.
Before I do that.
So in this portion of the interview starts out with you asking her about, did somebody else injure Gannon? And then she went on the discussion about apps. Do you remember that portion?
Yes.
and you asked her to give the name of the app. And then it led to that long tangent. Was that another distraction attempt away from potentially things that may help?
Yes.
Misdirection, yes.
Did you ask her about trips that she may have made to Palmer Lake area, so northern El Paso County?
I did.
So we're going to watch that next, and this is short. It's from 2 hours, 20 minutes and 10 seconds through 2 hours, 21 minutes and 20 seconds.
Let me ask you some questions, okay? Because this is our investigation.
Right.
You're taking all these trips up to Palmer Lake, multiple trips, different cars, renting a car.
Okay.
How are you not involved in this?
First off, I didn't ever get the drive to rental car anywhere because immediately once we, let me go ahead and correct on this now. Once we got the rental car or whatever, the National Guard was there. Everybody was in the house. We went in Albert's truck the whole entire day going to Come and Go and all these places. So I never drove the rental car anywhere.
Sure.
And it's already been corrected from budget about the rental car situation. I had to get that corrected yesterday. I never even drove it anywhere because I didn't get to. So whatever GPS you get from the rental car, it never was driven by me anywhere but literally up the street back. I didn't hardly drive it anywhere. So there was no rental car driven to any kind of places at all. The only time I went anywhere in the rental car might have been maybe 40, 50 miles. I don't know, no more than 100 miles, counting there and back. And that was just driving it through the day because I went back to get my car.
But
What information did you have about rental cars when you were asking that question?
We had that on the day Al returned back in town, which I believe was Tuesday. The Tiguan had been parked at the airport and Letecia had rented a car for that day leading into the next day. But then she'd actually came back and picked up the Tiguan Tuesday night. I don't remember or not if I had the mileage. She is correct here, and she drove it between 50 and 100 miles. I think it was about 70 miles. It came back that the rental car was driven. And like she said correctly, you could see the level of detail here. I believe she's being honest. And it probably was not driven up to Palmer Lake. So, yeah, it was factually correct what she was saying.
Were you aware of her having access to any other rental cars during the early days of this investigation?
Yes.
Like the Nissan Altima?
Yes, I believe her Tiguan was seized, and then after that, she rented the Nissan.
A relative rented the Nissan? We've got that in evidence. That's
Okay.
came from a different witness. But also, did you later learn that she also had access to 2 different types of rental vans?
Yes, I learned that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a discussion about PetSmart/Petco that leads into a discussion about blood on the walls and on her shoes and that kind of thing?
Yes.
All right, we're going to jump to 2 hours, 24 minutes and 51 seconds and play through 2 hours and 28 minutes and 5 seconds.
Give it to us.
because everything that I've looked at in this case, when you see the blood spatter on the wall, you see a big pool in the corner.
Okay.
You see your shoes that we collected with Gannon's blood on the bottom of them.
Okay.
And then you point to Eduardo, who doesn't exist, or maybe he did exist, and we don't have a last name. Then you point to Quincy Brown, and then you say Uncle Matt, these names and stuff, and it's like, I've seen it before, and that was Harold. That was.
But I'm not Harold.
I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying this is my experience.
Right. I got you.
I'm not saying you are, but it didn't go well for him because his attorney got up. He's one of the best attorneys in Colorado. He cost $600,000. Craig Truman, and he started
Paid $600,000. Okay.
with his dead wife's money. And Craig got up and said, Harold is not a murderer, but he is a liar.
Caleb.
And that's what I was worried about when I first got the case, because they asked me to come in and work that case because I had worked other cases like it. And Harold's just sitting there all confident and whatever else. Please don't say this is you. I'm just saying this is my experience because Harold told all these different stories. But when you start out with your defense attorney saying, my client is a liar, he's just making up crap.
Mm-hmm.
That's to the victim's family on how Tony died. That's to his friends at church. And all of them got up and testified. These are the different ways Tony died.
Again, it's not good.
But he
Wow.
might be today. You don't know that if someone is willing, if this, whether it's related or not, the head thing, if someone's willing to hold a kid for 30 days, how are they not willing to kill him?
Can I ask you something, or can I say something?
Yes.
Even if the scenario would have been me just going to go talk to the lady here and telling them, hey, this is what happened. This is who did it. I know that he was hurt by someone. You know what the next question you're going to say to me? Who was this person? And all I'd say to you was, oh, well, can you help me figure it out from this app? Or can you help me figure it out from this? And you know what you would say to me? Oh, yeah, sure. Right? That's exactly what you would say to me. So finding unless I can take you directly to where Gannon is, safe and sound, that is the only way that you're going to be like, oh, okay, she was telling the truth about something.
So this person is telling you that he's safe.
So that's the only thing you would do. I've even asked y'all, or I say y'all again, I mean, you're
I get it.
Right, Cosmo?
Hey, please help. Why isn't there a word? Please, please, please. You're not understanding. Like, I have begged that completely. Like, day in and day out. Begged it. Begged it to let me.
Because.
So in this discussion where you're trying to find information about how could there be blood in these places and on walls and Eduardo and Quincy and all that kind of thing, is this consistent approach from her in that she then doesn't want to give you any answers?
Yes.
Yep.
When either in the recorded consensual phone calls with Mr. Stauch or this interview, did she ever give you any explanation like, you know what, I just woke up and Gannon was hurt and I don't know what happened?
No.
She ever say that she blacked out and Gannon was just gone and didn't know what happened?
She said once that her head was hit and she was unconscious during part of this period, but not that she didn't know what happened.
Okay. Did she ever say she woke up in some other place and didn't know what happened?
No.
Some point, there's been a couple of references now where she's wanting to go off camera and she does it here again as well. Some point, does one of the DAs that was with you out in South Carolina actually come into the room and have a discussion with her about going off camera?
Yes.
Was that Martha McKinney?
Yes, it was.
Who was the other DA that was with you out in South Carolina? Do you remember?
Sorry, SKS. I think it's funny because you said Melissa. If you think of this, you can say mass, chew, sets, easy Perry. Think of the phonics. And it's easy. First of all, SKS, when you break it down slow into syllables, right? But then when you combine the syllables, that's when it gets blurry for me. But saying easy Perry instead of peasy proves my point. It's like, that's how my words come out. Okay. So I just kind of accepted that state. I will not say that state.
I don't.
Was it the young lady sitting here with us, Angelina Gratiano?
Hi.
She look familiar?
Yes, she does.
I'm going to jump to that section. So jumping to 2 hours, 34 minutes and 20 seconds through 2 hours, 44 minutes and 54 seconds.
Easy Perry. I really can't RL.
And before I jump, as I'm typing in that timestamp to get to that exact point, is it shortly after this where you actually leave the room for a little while and have a discussion about, can we do this off camera thing?
Yes.
And when you did that, was that leaving her in the room, the defendant in that same room by herself for some period of time?
Correct.
Did she do anything unusual inside the room during that time?
I recall.
Starts talking in Spanish or anything like that?
No.
Okay. So we're at 2:34:20 and I'm going to play through 2:44:54.
It's about like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it is, Judge.
And Mr. Grusing, you can step down.
Thank you.
I think going forward, how many more of these do you have to play?
Well, the whole thing, like I've told you before, judges.
Well, let me rephrase let me give you some guidance. I think if it's going to be longer than about 10 minutes, Mr. Grusing can step down.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I can just make notes of when they're going to be longer like that. And then this should get us to about 3:10, Judge. So
okay.
Maybe we can take the break right after this one.
I'm with the district attorney about this.
Just so you know, I looked behind there. This place is under construction. There's no one back. I can walk you back there if you want to look.
Oh, no, I believe you. I'm just talking about all these people watching.
Yeah, and Martha's been watching.
Yeah, I have.
I know.
Yeah. Johnson was talking.
Right, RL?
About protection.
So I don't have any trust in anyone. Obviously, I know I've told him that I said things to Albert because I was not whatever. But how do I know that I'm going to get help? Like, because I didn't hurt you at all. But I need the help to figure out how we're going to get through.
Let me read you what she wrote. Okay. Or I'll just show it to you.
And I know it's Saturday. I probably
I had things Saturday and nothing to do with it. So we do have your phone, and we have gone through, like, these are keystrokes.
Right. I'm talking about like it's when you download it.
Did you have a different phone beside the one that was in your van?
Hmm?
Did you have another phone, like a second phone?
Yeah. No. It's the same phone.
It's the same phone?
Yeah. No, not the same phone. You guys have the phone. That was just the real phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at this time.
Yeah, I understand that's the same, the 843 is the 55 number.
But you didn't have a second one that this app might be on.
No. I only had this phone.
So, and let me explain, Martha. My understanding of what Letecia's asking is, how does she know, since I've said, if there's a bad guy or guys out there that did this to Gannon, that she can tell us where these guys are, and she's concerned for not only her safety, but the safety of her family.
Right.
And how can
he asked me would I trade my life for Gannon? And I said, yes, but I said, it's also other people. Like, how do I know that everyone else is not going to be in this? And how do I know that you guys aren't just trying to be like, whatever, if I walk you through anything or can help you with anything, I don't want to be just thrown somewhere, like being like, okay, well, you didn't tell me this, and I want to be able to help you and work together because I'm sure you have kids or grandkids or whatever. I do. I don't want to sound like I'm cold-hearted, and I'm just tired of being like the person chased instead of being able to have someone to actually have compassion to help me.
Well, I was a little bit confused when I was watching it because John talked about how they're the FBI and they're the premier law enforcement agency that could protect you, could protect your entire family. And they, if Gannon's alive, they...
Okay.
I can't make you any promises.
Right.
Because obviously there's a lot of information that you have that we don't.
Okay.
So there aren't any promises. I can't come in here and promise you anything regarding the court case or the arrest warrant or your involvement.
Okay.
But I can tell you what the number one priority is.
Right.
And it's to find Gannon.
Right.
And so if you were talking to some small law enforcement agency and they said, sure, we'll protect you, I mean, I can see how you would be suspicious of that.
Well, you guys are the lead agency. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I mean, they're the most elite agency there is.
Oh, okay.
And so if there was a time for you to feel like that you could protect
that reporter, we can.
Because I know you have yours. That's what I'm saying.
As a backup.
So if you want the recording turned off, you need to tell us really explicitly that that's your choice. Because the recording have been put into law so that there's not a debate where he says you said one thing and you said I didn't, right? So
Good
it's to
night.
protect the person
Oh
being
no,
interviewed.
MK's not
Right.
going tonight.
But if it's something that you,
It's not that I'm trying to, I
Chief
just don't,
Justice.
it's just, I wanted to have like a conversation with
Right.
him, just him, and try to explain to him in complete detail about everything, because I do want I want the help to the next level to find out where he is. I really do. You guys have looked, you went to GPSs and all this, but you haven't found Ian because you're coming after me.
Hey, Dana.
And I understand you're going to say, well, this is what we have to go on. And I respect
Y'all.
that totally. But it's the first time I ever get to sit down with people to actually to say, okay, this is what happened. This is what I know. Please help me. Because then I feel like if I don't, because see, I easily would be like, hey, just give me an attorney and call it a day. I really want. So do you think I want to waste time if I got resources when that's all I've asked for? I don't want to waste time.
and if there's a chance it can be saved, everybody wants that information. But the only people who can save them are the FBI. I don't want you to think that this is being broadcast to the whole world.
Right.
You know, there's another DA with me. There's no half of that impression.
Right.
And they're the ones, the reason that we do that also is I might miss something, and I probably do. And so then I can go talk to them and say, what am I missing? And then also it protects you, because if I make a promise that I can't deliver on with the FBI, then Martha gets to hear it, and then she would knock on the door.
But as soon as I give you information, what's going to happen is someone's going to say, well, you were involved with this person. You were cheating with this person. You were doing this. I'm just giving you scenarios.
But that's a lot better situation than you're in right
but
now.
what if I wasn't? That's my thing. And that's
you
where the
weren't.
burden of proof. I can't depend my life on the burden of proof to be involved with just someone thinking that I'm just a bad person. I did not hurt Gannon. Okay.
Sure.
There aren't any promises I can make you right now. I can tell you that we're looking for the truth. And it seemed to me from listening to it that you had information.
Yeah, shut up, Tisha.
But I can't make you any promises.
But what I'm saying is, if you're saying to me, I have information, you're going to come and say, well, you should have given this information when I did nothing but attack.
But
that's what I'm saying.
You
see what I'm saying?
You can't armchair quarterback yourself, though. You know what I'm saying? You can't look into the future and say, well, we're going to say this because you said that. If what Martha and I are saying are true, and that our only focus is Gannon, we don't care who leads us there, we just need Gannon, then you are protecting yourself by telling us this. If you never give us this information, then you don't protect yourself. And then we have one person to prosecute for Gannon.
Wait, Homer, no, not at all. Why? I didn't see the question. Beach lover, thank you.
When people came forward with
No,
information.
not at all, Homer. Why would I be upset with you? Not at all. No, I'm so sorry. I don't know why. Am I missing your comments? I'm sorry. No, not at all. I'm sitting here just quietly trying to nibble my lettuce, like looking back and forth. No, not at all. I'm so sorry if I made you think I was.
How do I know that? Because that's my biggest thing. I know you're saying that, but like whatever I can do to help, I can help you. But I'm saying, how do I know that if, let's just say it's whatever, I tell you a specific person, okay? Let's just say that, okay? Then my thing is, your thing is going to be like, well, you held this information from me and I'm having to utilize my resources. Okay,
I know.
and do all those things, understand.
I feel bad now because I'm just sitting here and I'm like, all right, I gotta make sure Natasha can't hear me. Just quietly nibbling, glancing back and forth at Tisha like this fucking bitch. And all the while, I didn't realize Homer was thinking I was upset with him. But really, I'm just kind of doing my own thing, and I'm so sorry. I'm like the littlest little nibble. Imagine, like, I'm just sitting here looking back and forth, so I'm so sorry.
That maybe sometimes there are people who are afraid of any other things going on.
I know.
Every day in my work, there are people who report things later than some people think they should. Every day. And we try to focus on the violent crime. And we certainly try to focus on the kids. I know that you want assurances and you want me to be able to say, you know, I will or won't do this. And I can't make you promises because I'm in the dark, right? It would be foolish for me to make you promises, but I have people who might report sex assault all the time. We have people who come forward years later. Our interest is in the truth about the crime. This is really all conversation to have. And I know that you wanted to have a frank conversation with them where you could really tell them. But unless you need me, I'm going to step out.
But you're still going back in the room.
Would you like
Unless
that
you
to
turn it
turn
off.
it
Yes.
off?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we'll turn it off.
How do I know that? Not that I want you to know
No.
anything. I want to be able to like really talk to them. Know that I can sincerely see in your heart you're going to help
You
me.
didn't, Natasha,
I can
at
bring
all.
you back there and you can see
I'm
us
just-
turn it
I'm
off.
just joking.
But the truth is, I could just turn it back on again.
I know.
I mean, there's a point where no one can verify everything you want.
Well, plus, that's her life. She has to tell the truth, just like I do you, when you don't want her to listen to you. You kind of have to look at logic here.
Okay.
I don't think Martha would throw away.
No, I don't want you to know. I want you to have all the information. That's
Well,
it.
So are you okay with the reporting continuing? We just won't be monitoring.
No, I did. He said that we
You
wouldn't.
wanted to turn
Oh
off?
my
He said I
God,
could just talk to
Tisha.
him.
Okay. So we're just gonna turn off the recording and that's your choice. That's
Okay.
what you want, right?
Yes.
And so he controls the turning it off from here, or are
No,
they?
you'll have to ask,
Okay, I'll ask them
find
to.
someone.
And so it's just gonna get turned off.
Okay.
And then once it's done, then I'll come back out and we'll turn it back on.
And it'll be a conversation between the two of you and it'll be
No,
like the
peeping
way, law enforcement.
All right.
Anything else for me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get him, turn it on.
Amy.
Do you want me to do
No.
that?
She does, Jackie.
So that's that portion, Judge. Do you want to take the break now or go a little bit more?
Let's go a little bit longer.
Okay.
We all want to know it.
Oh, we've heard Werner say that before. Let's go a little bit longer. Can we hang in there a little bit longer? I think so. So let's push through it. Look, even Tisha in that bottom right, look at her stretching. She's ready to go. We're pushing through it.
What happens
Mr.
next?
Briscoe.
Okay. Yeah, let's go a little bit longer.
Let's go a little bit longer. Hell yeah. That's what every chick wants to hear from Grusing and Werner, man. Oh, not at all, Homer. Not at all. And I'm so sorry if I made you feel that way. Not at all. We love and appreciate this community.
At some
is
point,
the
did you have a
best. I
discussion
know I'm biased, but I think it is. So
with the defendant during this interview where you're talking about ransom?
Yes.
Why was that part of the discussion?
She had brought that up, I think it was on February 15th, that Quincy Brown was demanding a ransom. And also, since we were talking about a group possibly having Gannon, I couldn't see another reason why someone would have him. He would still be alive without them asking for something in
fuck
demand.
yeah, and rock some harlot.
But why bring it up in that particular interview? Why confront her with that?
Just to change tactics a little bit and see if she will move somewhere else, really.
Okay. In that portion of the discussion, were you also talking to her about in ransom cases, kids don't actually turn out to be okay?
Yeah, and maybe I'd worked one ransom case, if that. We don't see that very often. Normally our rule is that the 24-hour rule, the 48-hour rule, the further away you get from an abduction, the less likely the child is going to survive. And so now we were at over a month.
Does that same hold true for a missing kid? So the longer you get away from the point that a kid goes missing, the chances of survival go down as well?
Correct.
Did the defendant bring up who she describes as an FBI agent named Barbara?
Yes.
What was your take on that portion of the discussion?
I did not know a Barbara who was involved, and I asked the Colorado Springs office if there was a Barbara working in the case, and they said no as well.
Okay. The next section, Judge, that I want to get into is about a 10-minute video. Do you want me to go into that, play it, and then?
Let's do that. And then
Okay.
have a break.
Yes, Jinky.
So preceding that, she's already sort of challenged you on, because you asked the question a particular way, that shows that she couldn't trust you as it relates to Quincy being in Mexico. Do you remember that part?
Yes.
Does she bring that up again about that's why I have a problem with trust?
Yes.
All right. And so I'm going to jump to 2 hours and 49 minutes and 1 second.
Look at her stretching like it ain't nothing but a thing.
So this is a 10-minute section, Judge. And then if we're going to go directly to break, maybe he can come down.
That's fine. You can step down. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Letecia is keeping her head down on the floor, almost on the
And then it
table,
happened
reading a book.
February 5th, I think. So what happened was I got all the messages when I logged back in for my iCloud. I got all the messages that were just sitting there. And so I took that message and I forwarded it to I sent it to people and I sent it to Albert. And I said, hey, I said, can you get someone to like look into this? I said it could be just people, you know, sending random messages, or it could be creepers, you know, like people, whatever, being stupid, or it could be just in general, you know, the actual person. And so no one ever said anything to me about it. Then I get the Snapchat. Okay, so that
Let me interrupt you for a second. Letecia, there's an 11-year-old kid. Again, we have to go back there. 11-year-old kid, injuries in the house. Now we know that.
Yeah, sprinkle dog that.
Taken. And you don't come to law enforcement?
This was a law enforcement
But no,
person.
there's no Barbara. I mean, how did you get in from, except through your friend? You had Amber from the FBI.
Right, but she said that she worked with the FBI and she was going to send information. She said that she worked with Amber. I swear to you, if you call Amy, you can get the number from her to find out what Barbara, who the Barbara lady was. And she was actually emailing her today.
But if you told them back then and you trusted them with that information,
this is why
why are you not today? Because
no one has helped. I tried since February 5th. But then today's March. That's why you see I had such a problem with trust. It's because
I was there when you were talking to Amber, though. That was your chance. And
Amber.
Yeah, that's the legit FBI.
So then, is that what happened when I was talking to Amber? I got a message back from the attorney. He said not to talk to you guys because you guys, A, weren't the lead agency or something like that. And then B, not to say anything else unless he was present. That was when I was trying to talk to Amber.
But why wasn't that with Barbara then?
Because I gave it to my friend Amy, who had this relationship with Barbara, like trying to check on her.
See, and again, this sounds like a lot of your calls.
Mm-hmm.
To where you're pointing fingers in different directions, but never giving specific things.
Right. I did.
Right now, I mean, if Gannon is somewhere and you can get us there, and he sent proof of life or a picture of Gannon or whatever else, it makes no sense for some man to have an 11-year-old child.
It wasn't that. It was because we thought it was someone playing games. And if someone was playing games, we were trying to say that person would have been
my God, Tisha.
Like obstructing or whatever. That was the whole point. Not somebody had him and they were like, here, come get. My point was that we thought it was someone, hey, here's someone playing games. Could you find out who this person is?
Yeah, but do you see where that's going? And all your talks with Al. Those are distractions. Those take up time.
Yeah.
And Gannon's over here. Somewhere.
Yeah.
And you are misleading law enforcement.
No, I didn't mislead them.
No. Well, you're misleading anybody who would report to us.
No, I didn't mislead any of them. Who did I mislead?
With all these other stories.
That was to Albert. It wasn't misleading law.
But you knew we were in the room.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have said stuff like that if I was trying to mislead. I was just being whatever to Albert because he was making me upset. That's all.
The dad of a kid is not finding his son.
Because I'm also the stepmother who helped him get the kids, and he wouldn't have gotten them without me. So yes, he wouldn't have.
You're willing to do that to Al, though.
No, I already had apologized to him and said that was awful.
Hey, Carolina.
To him out of anger. I had already done that.
But before we kick this thing in motion about all this protection and whatever?
That's amazing, Jackie. I'm so sorry for your struggle, but that's amazing.
Why
for
haven't you
guys to
said
go
one
through it.
thing though today? How in the world would he suffer a head wound on Saturday that requires?
I didn't say it was a head wound that requires
head
things. I said the
thing?
head thing you're talking about when I said something to Albert. I said the head thing you're talking about. That's what I said.
So the bike
Yes,
accident
Cosmo.
thing?
You already trying a bike accident.
No, the head thing talking to Albert.
Never mind. I'll just wait until you are ready to talk to me with
Hey,
from
Carrie
the beginning to the end, because I already said that that is completely irrelevant to anything of what you're talking about. Completely irrelevant. I told Albert something else that was just story to be whatever to him, and it was wrong, and I already had apologized.
So
to
the
Albert.
things that you told Albert were that he was peeling these burns. Was that happening?
I'm not going to answer any more questions because you're asking me about things telling Albert out of being upset. There was nothing happening that I was telling Albert, nothing. I was literally just saying that to Albert because I was upset for him not standing by me and was figuring this out. This had nothing to do with me wanting to purposefully do whatever or tell you guys anything. That was not what it was.
But,
It was me being upset with Albert.
let me go back to a kid missing is about as bad as it gets.
Oh, yeah.
I had a bank robbery 15 years ago to where a female went in the bank, she robbed the bank, she got the money, she came back to the car, and she drove away.
Mm-hmm.
She was prosecuted for that. There were guys in the car with guns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but she could have gone into the bank, said, lock those doors, those guys are making me do this.
Right.
You know, yours is now, we have 30 some days with Gannon missing, and you haven't talked to one law enforcement officer to say, I know where he is and he's safe.
I never did not try to talk to you guys. I never did not. No one ever, when I felt like I was getting like a completely.
Waterboarded is literally a Chinese torture tactic where they're essentially drowning you with water until you're on the verge of dying. So that's Tisha for you.
Bam, farted by El Paso.
Right, Natasha?
No one ever reached out to me from FBI to like have a conversation like you did. No one ever did.
And you don't feel comfortable talking to El Paso why?
It's not that I don't feel comfortable talking to them. I just feel like from point A to point B, they have taken this approach, and a few ladies in a comment about Lake and about this.
Right.
Because that's the approach that they've taken, as if it's just a person who is not alive. And that bothers me because I don't want.
Well,
anyone
we're
to
actually
take
the
that
ones,
approach.
we're the ones that told them that. And that's statistically true.
What?
Oh my God, Homer.
From Gannon's age
Mm-hmm.
and from the amount of time that he's been missing, he is most likely dead.
But what I'm saying is, as a parent, is that maybe because you're like used to saying that or something, but is that something like as a parent you would want to
Wow.
No, but would you rather hear a lie? Would you rather hear statistically he's probably alive? When it's about I would say it's less than a 1% chance at this point.
But why?
Him being 11, they would have asked for something.
But why?
Kidnappings don't happen without a demand or without it being a parental deal.
Parental deal or a demand.
Yeah.
So you're saying that nothing else, nobody intervenes ever.
Wow.
Ever.
I've seen one at a time. And again, I've worked violent crime in Denver for 20 years, a little over. And I saw one kid wander down the street. He had autism. And this was up in Brighton. And a guy took him in the house. He had him for a day. The guy was mentally disabled as well. So we had two things happening at once. We had a kid with autism who just started wandering. And then we had a developmentally delayed adult who was just playing video games with him for 24 hours. But we ended up, the public said, there. And I remember knocking on the door. He had made little blankets for the kid in there. The kid was playing video games and nothing bad had happened.
Right.
That's the exception. I've been to where kids have been dismembered, 10-year-olds.
That's awful.
Ugh.
And from the blood in the house, that's what I'm thinking happened. I'm not saying he just got dismembered in the house, but there's enough blood in there
Mm-mm.
that we don't think he survived.
Mm-mm. How could you have like possibly say that when you clearly began walking, leaving on Monday? I don't see that's
Leaving on Monday at 10, yes.
right.
Correct.
Right. Walking. Okay.
But he comes back.
Walking.
Correct.
Okay. Walking.
Not walking well.
Totally fine. Stomach hurts. Walk with like this. Yeah.
But he's back at 2.
Back at 2.
Yes, Carrie.
Okay. Okay. If that's what you say, then then this whole thing is like even pointless to even say anything, because if you're saying back at 2, but then you're also saying something about going legs and here and there and whatever, and it's like none of it is even making sense. It doesn't even make sense.
So
for
between
me.
the two Petco trips is when he disappeared then.
It doesn't make sense to me
Letecia.
to say.
So let me tell you. I've been working for 14 years with a guy named Scott Kimball. He's our informant that went around killing the girls. You remember me telling you about him before?
Oh, yeah.
When we first started. Not our best day, because I have dads out there who still wonder if their daughters are alive. Scott taught me one thing very well. There's only 2 people that can tell a story when someone either goes missing. Because one of these girls, Jennifer,
There's nothing to be curious
went
about,
missing.
beach
Like I
lovers.
said,
There's
we're
just a
pretty
little
sure she's
confusion and
dead
it's
because it's
done.
been 14 years
I
since
don't want to
anybody's
keep
seen
going
her.
on about it, honestly.
But Scott told me, John, only 2
Have a
guys,
good night,
only
get
2
some
people can
rest.
testify to what happened between me and Jennifer. And that's me, and that's Jennifer. And you're never going to find her.
He said that to you?
He did.
Wow.
So I've got to answer to his dad for the rest
Not
of
yet,
my life.
Carolina.
So the
When they leave the interrogation room, which they're getting up to that is when she tells Grusing about Angel and the threesome.
answering to his
It
dad
doesn't, Cosmo.
after I retire, because Dad has my cell phone. Dad calls me on her birthday, on the day she went missing, on Father's Day.
How was he able to say that to you?
Because he's like, there's no other witnesses. So when I take a guess, and that's a guess that he came back home, that's because people that looked on the video said he probably did, or, I don't have the information you have. And I hear you do that to Al by saying, oh, so that's what you think. Well, none of us know. You know.
Because I have.
That's 3 hours. Oh, wait a minute. Did I stop it a minute too early? I think I did. My eyes are getting bad. We got 1 more minute.
All right.
That way. If I don't be that way, then no one's going to help me.
Okay, T.
I didn't hurt Gannon. I didn't.
That's fine, but right now you're the only one who
didn't.
was with him.
But I didn't hurt Gannon.
But how are you going to get past these charges without help? How does that work?
Without help?
Without you telling me. Like, again, it'd be like someone, I told you the story about Jennifer. If somebody knew where Jennifer was, and they're not telling me or Bob Markham, the
I
dad.
didn't say I knew where Gannon was.
You said you know he's okay.
No, I said as a parent, I'm never going to sit here and say, look at you and say, he's not okay. That's not what I'm going to do, because I didn't do this. So why would I look at you and say that? Like, I'm dead looking at you in the eye saying,
and you're
I would
a fucking
never as
liar.
a parent say that. No way could I ever say that, because I love Gannon. I did not hurt Gannon.
I told.
All right, now it's really 3 hours, 1 minute and 35 seconds.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will take our afternoon break until 3:35.
All right, Grusing. All right, so that's where we take our break. Grusing and Werner said so. So I'll pause it there and we'll pick up. Hi, Chelsea. Fighting the seasonal depression from Alaska. But these recaps always bring me joy. I'm sorry that you came in as I was ending it. Seasonal depression is no joke. Actually, you know what? I don't know what the weather is in Alaska. So I was about to say, try to enjoy the last bit of nice weather we have. But what weather is it in Alaska? I associate Alaska with cold. Is it cold? But I imagine, seasonal depression is universal no matter where you are, and it really stinks. So I'm glad that, you know, this brings you joy. And I'm so sorry I'm ending it as you are coming in. It's rainy and very wet, but at least the leaves are pretty. It's weird. I really like the rain and storms, but I don't know if, and the darkness, I don't know how I'd feel about it every day, but I think I like the storms and the rainy weather because it gives me an excuse to be lazy, which probably isn't the best, but like there's nothing better than like staying in your pajamas, hearing the rain hit the windowsill, you know what I mean? So I love that. But it'll probably be too much if it's like that all the time, you know? Not too cold yet, but I'll be in the replay gang tonight. Sounds good. Well, we will be live tomorrow, but tomorrow we're doing Wade, the interrogation. And so you guys see the rhythm I'm doing, though. I'm kind of just flipping back and forth, alternating between Wade and Tisha. Right, Carol? I love it. Not all of Alaska is always cold. Really? Fun fact. No, I don't know if that's Alaska, actually. I'll have to look at that. Yes, I've been talking with Shay about Jody. I know, like, we keep saying it, but, like, we got to do Jody. So Shay's sick right now, but I'm going to wait for her to get better, and we're definitely going to go over Jody. I'm excited for Jody. Is a rainforest. That's so cool. Is it House and House? I haven't watched it, and I'm excited. You know what, Caffeinated Slug? I wouldn't say he's as interesting as Tisha, but that's because I have a slight obsession with this case, you know? But I will say that it is more intriguing than I thought. And he is very disconnected and disgusting, but not in the typical way you would think. And it's not just Wade that makes it so fascinating. There are a cult of wives who are obsessed with him and raising a shit ton of money successfully, and watching the dynamics between their relationships with Wade, knowing full well what he's done, is pretty fascinating. You too, Cosmo. And so, yeah, it's been interesting, and it's been nice and different, you know, to kind of like bounce between the two. That's what I'm saying, Carrie. The admire, like, it's not just Wade, it's the dynamics with all of the chicks that make it wild. But we're going to go on tomorrow. We're going to watch his interrogation. I look forward to that. And so we'll pick up with part 30, actually. The next episode, part 30, right where we left off. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your night, and we will stop, drop, and roll out of here.
For the interviews, because I don't have any fancy clothes.
You go to my closet, you take whatever you need. You too, Brennan. You guys got to look sharp. It's the most important day of our lives, okay?
Okay, Dad.
What's your name? What's your age? Where you from? What's your sign? Who you love? What's your style? What you do? What you drive? Stop, drop, and roll. Do that. Do it like a pro. Do that. Stop, drop, and roll. Do that. Do it like a pro. Do that. Hit top, rollie, boy, we know you phony. Take her to the mall and buy her what she want it. Already smashed, so I'ma let the homie. RP my cash and RP a Kobe. If you're born in September, then you know you're my type. If I see you on Tinder, then I gotta swipe right. If you're born in October, then you're just like me. Here's a resume, can you fill this out, please? What's your name? What's your age? Where you from? What's your sign? Who you love? What's your style? What you do? What you drive? Stop, drop, and roll. Do that. Do it like a pro. Do that. Stop, drop, and roll. Do that.